and welcome to our show for the love of animals. We're so glad you joined us. We're at the National Quilt Museum, and we've got a special show for you. I'm Darleen Pigford.
I'm Greg Baur, and you may wonder where our little buddies are today, but since we're at the Quilt Museum, they had to stay at home.
They had to stay home.
Anyway, I want to tell our viewers about a couple of upcoming shows. One on Splash, A Wonder Dog. It's a wonderful, wonderful story that you will really, I think, want to see. And then we have Santa's gift bag coming up. So that's what's coming up in the future. And Darleen, we're at the Quilt Museum. What are we doing here today?
Well, we're at the National Quilt Museum in Paducah, Kentucky. And Greg, we are here at the Horse Quilt exhibit.
Okay.
And it is so special. So why don't you introduce our guest, and we'll get going on this horse quilt show.
I'll be most happy to. Our guest today is no stranger to our viewers. Judy Schwender has been with us on a number of occasions, and we're always so glad to have her. She's curator and registrar here at the National Quilt Museum. So Judy, thanks again for taking time out of your day to share some wonderful quilts with us today.
I'm happy to do that, Greg.
Judy, why a horse quilt now? What's going on?
What's going on? Well, right now we have the World Equestrian Games in Kentucky, and this is the first time the World Equestrian Games have been held outside of Europe. So we have always planned to have a horse quilt exhibit, but this is the time, and so it's in honor of the World Equestrian Games.
Oh wow! All right, let's get. What are we standing? What's this
let's get
beautiful
started.
quilt behind us?
Oh, this is a fabulous quilt. This is by Shirley Kelly. She's from Colden, New York, and this is called Battle for Old Hilltop. And Old Hilltop is the Preakness, which is one of the three legs of the Triple Crown. This depicts Sunday silence and easy goer as they battle out this wonderful horse race. And you see the black-eyed Susans, and that's the flower for the Preakness. And what is so fabulous about her work is that you can really sense the power in the horses and their beauty and how the jockeys are just concentrating, trying to get these horses to win. Oh, it is. It's a very intense quilt. It's very wonderful. It's intense, but yet you still have the daisies.
The beauty, yeah.
Yeah.
And for a novice, is this machine quilted, hand, what?
This is hand appliqued and machine quilted. And the applique is where a section of the quilt, the fabric is laid on top and then invisibly stitched by hand to the background. And Shirley builds up layers and layers and layers of different color fabrics to depict the horses in the background and the sky and the daisies. So it's really a wonderful quilt. She was a public school teacher for 32 years.
Oh boy.
So she's quite an artist, and her horses, her family has been involved with horses for just many generations.
Yeah. And I understand there's something special about the other side of this quilt, right?
Right. What Shirley does is she pieces and appliques a front.
Okay.
Then she pieces and appliques a back instead of just having one whole piece of cloth.
Okay.
And she sandwiches those together with the batting in between. And when she does her machine quilting on the front, it shows through on the back.
Okay.
Oh my.
I know. It's the equivalent of almost of making two quilts.
Well, it is.
It's a lot of work.
But it's even more because you've got to think about when I stitch on that front, it's going to show through here.
Oh, yes. And one of the beauties of the back of this quilt is that the one horse shows through right here. It's like a ghost horse surging over this building at Pimlico.
Okay.
And it's just that ghost aspect is just so strong and so powerful, and that is just so fun.
Oh, and I was noticing the weather vane.
The weather vane, which is a horse with a jockey, yes. And Shirley does this with a lot of her quilts. Not everybody does it. Very few people do this because it is a lot of work. But Shirley does that with a lot of her quilts.
Okay. Well, that takes just an unusual amount of talent and work to be able to do that. And,
yes.
And what do we have down here with the numbers and the...
I believe these are the number of horses that were in this race, and of course they're on stylized black-eyed Susans,
right.
which is the state flower of Maryland, and also the the flower for Pimlico.
And this must be the building there at the racetrack.
Building at the racetrack. So,
Wow.
Oh, I'm just awed by the work on this quilt.
Can you imagine the thought that had to go into that?
On the planning.
Oh, yes. Wow.
Great.
and one of the wonderful things, Shirley has been a longtime supporter of the museum, and she supports us in many ways, and that's why we featured her as a guest artist in A Horse's Tale.
Wow. Well, she is certainly an artist. Wow. Well, let's move on now to our next quilt.
All right.
Well, here we are at our next quilt, and this one is 2 Minutes in May, and that should sound familiar to us. Judy, tell us about this quilt.
This is another wonderful quilt by Shirley Kelly, and it depicts, of course, the Kentucky Derby, and it's as if you're, well, right in front of all these horses barreling down the racetrack. And to me, it kind of gives a sense of how close together all the horses are, and I can't even imagine being a jockey on thousands of pounds of horse going full speed and then being about 6 inches from another one, as you can see in here. That, to me, that's just scary. And then, of course, the dirt that's being kicked up. And there's a joke in the quilt world that Shirley Kelly does the best dirt in quilts, and you can see that in here.
Oh, that is just fantastic detail.
And is this hand machine? Educate me.
This is another hand-appliqued quilt, machine quilted.
Well, it is just wonderful.
It's a fabulous quilt. It was named one of the top 100 quilts of the 20th century, and with good reason.
Wow.
Ah.
Woo.
And this one's just done on one side.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Well, while you think about it, why don't we take a short break, and we have a happy tale from Project Hope about some puppies and some kittens. So let's listen up.
Hi, my name is Razzle Dazzle, and I am a 7-month-old male cat. I live at the Project Hope shelter with my brothers and sisters. We were left in a box on the doorstep of the Project Hope shelter. Luckily for us, Project Hope has several kind volunteers who take great care of us. I've had all of my shots, been tested for the feline leukemia virus, and have been neutered. In my time here, I've come to know 3 Boxer Shepherd mixed puppies that were also left on the Project Hope doorstep. They are 10 months old, have had all of their shots, and would make great pets for some lucky person. Our time here has been good, but what we'd all really love is to be adopted by a kind family who will give us as much love as we give them. If you can help us, please call Beth at 618-524-8939, Tuesday through Friday between 1 and 5 p.m.
Welcome back. We do hope that those puppies and kittens at Project Hope find a home, and with our good viewers out there, I bet they will.
I'm sure they will.
Well, Greg, we're here at the Quilt Museum in Paducah, Kentucky with Judy Schwender. Judy, let's tell our audience how to get here. We're located where?
215 Jefferson Street in downtown Paducah.
And a telephone number?
270-442-8856.
And what's your website?
Our website is www.quiltmuseum.org.
And do you have an email?
Oh yes, you can just do info@quiltmuseum.org.
Okay, people, it's easy to get information, and some of these quilts, but not all, sometimes are featured there. So, Greg, let's continue now with our quilts.
Okay, and we just remind our viewers of one thing, that
What's
up on
that?
the website, they can find the hours of the museum.
Oh yes.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
so that'll be an important thing. But Judy, this is a fascinating quilt to me, but very unusual. Tell us about this one.
This wonderful quilt, when I first saw the picture of it when we were jurying the quilts for this exhibit,
It grows on you.
It grows on you, and it struck me as reminiscent of cave drawings. And in many
Yes.
cave drawings, you see images of horses.
Right.
So this is called The Little Horse of Picasso. It's by Els Verreken, and she's from Belgium.
Oh,
So
wow.
this is our international entry. She's taken Picasso's little gesture drawing of a horse and reworked it and transposed it and made it her own. And she's printed her own fabrics. So, in some cases it's on a tan ground, in other cases it's on an aqua and a white ground. And it just, like I said, it just reminded me of a cave drawing. It goes back to the elemental suds of the horse.
Okay, now, what do you mean this sketch of Picasso's horse? Was that something, was it a painting or just a sketch?
With Picasso's incredible output, it's just like I said, a little gesture drawing, just almost like a little quick sketch.
Oh, okay, in his work.
In
But it
his
wasn't a
work.
big painting or anything?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Oh, right. Well, that is a fascinating quilt. Well, this just gets better and better.
Oh, it sure does. And the thing that's amazing to me is how someone can take that sketch and whatever and put their own
Artistic
imagination
spirit.
and
Right.
artistic talent to it. And that's just one of the most unusual quilts I've ever seen.
Yes, it's-
I'm like you, Judy. The more I look at this, the more it grows on me.
You get involved in it, yes.
Yeah. Well, let's go see another one and
Okay.
get more involved in it.
Well, Judy, here's another beautiful quilt. Please tell us about this one.
One of the things about horses, especially with racing, is they're just so powerful, and
Yes.
their heart's really in it. And this quilt really depicts this. The jockey's going all out, the horse is just going all out, and the way the quilt's constructed with raw edge applique and just all the colors, it looks powerful. This is called Zeelowinzik Keeneland, and it's by a Lower Town Paducah artist named Deb Lyons.
Oh.
So, we were so pleased to include it, but we had selected it. Right away we knew we wanted this quilt in the exhibit, and then went, oh my gosh, it's by a Lower Town artist. So it was just doubly wonderful.
And just for our viewers, Lower Town meaning here in Paducah.
Oh yes, right here in Paducah, the Lower Town, the Artists District.
Yes.
Well, it is a gorgeous quilt. Judy, they just get better and better.
They do, they do.
Well, let's move on to the next one.
Well, we hope you viewers are enjoying these wonderful quilts, and of course with Judy giving lots of good explanations. But Judy, what's this one? Riding Hard.
Riding Hard, yes, by Catherine Callahan of Warrensburg, Missouri. If we're going to have quilts, we have to have something about the Wild West, because
Absolutely.
it's just part of the American mythology, and how the West was won, and the whole, how many of us watched all those Westerns when we were kids?
Absolutely.
Absolutely,
Love John Wayne.
Oh, okay. So here we have horses and riders galloping towards us in silhouette, and with the beautiful sky in the background, and the mountains and a river. So we have all the elements of the wild West. One of the things that this quilt uses is what we call fused applique. And that's where you have a fusing bond on the backside of fabrics. You cut out the shape you want, and then you fuse it to the base cloth with an iron. And then she's done machine quilting around different elements to make them pop.
Well, this just pops through in here. I mean,
Oh.
quite a lovely texture. But then having the riders and the horses in black is just such a good weighty contrast.
It is. That's exactly right.
It's an excellent. I think it's an excellent composition.
It is.
Well, we're continuing our journey through the horse quilts, and this one has a fabulous story. Judy, you can be the storyteller now.
Well, this is really a quilt about a girl's journey through horses.
Okay.
This is a quilt called Horse Show Memories by Nancy Turner of Cadiz, Kentucky. And it depicts all the different ribbons won by a girl named Emily Champion. What a name to have.
Wow.
Yes.
And actually, this what I've been told is that this is a very small number of her
Really?
of her horse show ribbons.
Wow.
Yes. She began at the age of 4 showing horses and kept showing and just loved horses. Later, she went to the Auburn School of Veterinary Medicine and got her degree in veterinary medicine. So she's now the vet at a horse track in Louisiana.
What a job.
Exactly, what a job. So she's doing what she loves. And this quilt her mother had Nancy put this quilt together to celebrate when Emily graduated from vet school. So there's pictures on it of her with horses, and here's a ribbon from Western Kentucky State Fair Horse Show, 4th place. Here's the Kentucky Saddlebred Association Grand Circuit champion, Carson Park Riding Club,
Wow.
Trigg County Riding Club, it's just you know, for somebody that has been involved with horses
Since
as long
age
as
of
she
4.
has, since the age of 4.
And it's so rare, you know, that an avocation and a vocation can go together. That's just a well blending of themes.
Oh yeah, she obviously followed her bliss and found exactly what she needed to do in life. And this quilt commemorates all of that.
It is a beautiful and artistic memory.
Yes, and you know, when we first got the quilts for jurying, when I first saw this, I couldn't see the little pictures
Yes.
that are in of her with her different horses. And I'm thinking, you know, what's this all about? And then I realized that it was all about ribbons and it was all about the story, and I knew I had to include it because the story is just too good.
And so rare, you know, from the age of 4.
Yeah. So if anybody, you know, I've heard people say, you know, they see quilts from the 1800s that children from the age of 4 quilted on, and I'm thinking, if somebody can show a horse at the age of 4, somebody could make a quilt at the age of 4. So, you know, it's...
Judy, we've been looking at a number of quilts today, and we'll continue to look at some more, but maybe just take a very quick, what's the difference, what do we mean by a juried competition?
Well,
our viewers may not know that.
Well, what a juried competition is people... We send out a call for entries, and people submit their images and their information about their quilts, and then a jury, typically about 3 people, they look at all the images and start deciding which ones will be in the exhibit.
Okay, so they're all good, but the question is the top good, I guess.
The top good, the top good. And also, I have input as to, you know, how it's going to look in the gallery. And here again, as quilts go, it's hard to see about depicting a horse. But as horse stories go, this is the tops. This is excellent.
Yes.
It certainly does tell a story in our journey here at the Quilt Museum.
Well, and I think that clears up maybe some questions that some viewers had with that. So, well, we thank you, Judy, and let's move on to the next one now.
Okay.
I just love this high contrast quilt. Judy, explain it to me. What's going on here?
Well, one thing we have is a dark background with the figure is light.
Yes.
Usually it's the other way around.
Right.
And it's done sketchily. So you become
Yes.
involved in it, so your mind starts completing
Filling in the details.
filling in the details and completing the lines where there is no line on the quilt. This is called Dancing with a Star, and it's by Terry Bratfish of Georgetown, Kentucky. And it's inspired by the Grand Prix freestyle performance of the United States Dressage Federation medalist Pam Fowler Grace and her dance partner, the horse called Stars in Stripes. And dressage really is about horses dancing.
Oh, really? Wow.
So this is a wonderful depiction, and just this slight bit of the hoof coming down. It's just it's a light colored
Yes.
or a light feeling quilt, even though it's a
It's
dark
dark.
colored quilt.
Judy, how was this quilt made?
This wonderful quilt has applique pieces, and then each applique piece is encircled by machine embroidery. It's got beading to signify, you know,
Yeah.
the background, just the little flickers of light that you might see in the background.
Dancing with the, yeah.
Yes, and she's added just enough applique to highlight certain portions of the horse, like the muzzle and the ears, and just enough to show them in performance.
And how did you get this texture, this puffiness on the black there?
Well, when you do the hand beading, you go through from the back and sew
Okay.
into the bead and back through, and then tie it off, and that way you get this nice texture, this nice
It's a
puffiness.
really high contrast quilt and so different from the others that we've seen.
Yes, and just a really good picture of someone doing dressage. I think the mindset of the horse and rider together really produce quite a dance, and this is a real good depiction of that.
It
It's-
certainly is.
It's just amazing to me to think of the number of hours that it takes to create these quilts, from the mental inception to the actual production of it.
Oh, yes.
It's just hard to conceive of that
And to
time.
follow through on it.
Yes, the craftsmanship And the presentation of the idea, I think,
Yes.
is wonderful in this quilt.
Yes, this is a very fine group of quilts. We're very pleased to have these.
They are just wonderful.
Well, we were just doing wonderfully well with looking at these quilts, but we're going to take a short break now for something new that we've added for this particular show and will in the future. Darleen and I have called it For the Animals. And what we're trying to do is to pay tribute or to honor people who have done some wonderful work with animals. And the first person that we're going to honor is Donna Groves. Many of you know her here in Paducah, and I'll let her tell you the story.
Donna Groves of Paducah has been volunteering at the Project Hope No-Kill Humane Society in Metropolis for almost 7 years. Her primary focus is on the cats at the shelter. Donna works to make sure to get the word out to the public about upcoming events at Project Hope and ways the public can help the shelter. Donna manages to do all of this while working as news director for WKYX, WKYQ, and 8 other Paducah radio stations and websites. She also serves on the board of directors as Project Hope's treasurer. Donna has 7 cats of her own, many of which have special needs, including Snowball, who is deaf, Stevie, who is practically blind, Herbie, who has 3 legs, and Riley, who has only 1 eye. Each of those 4 cats all came to Donna through Project Hope. We here at For the Love of Animals thank Donna for all of her hard work and hope that she inspires others to follow in her footsteps.
We hope you enjoyed those few wonderful words about Donna. And I want to tell our viewers that if you are interested or know somebody who would work well for this segment, someone who's worked with animals for a period of time, then all you have to do is to call me at 270-443-8330 or email me at greg_Baur@comcast.net. Tell me who the person is and how I can contact them. And we hope you've enjoyed that. But right now, we're going to move to just some kind of audio talk-throughs, if you will. Judy's going to briefly describe several other quilts that we just don't have time to do in great detail. So
We're now going to an extended visual tour of our horse quilts.
This quilt is Powwow Ponies by Vi Collum of Mission, South Dakota. How could you have an exhibit about quilts about horses without something that refers to the Native American horse experience? It's so central to their culture, and this quilt depicts it beautifully. This is called Quilting for Horses, and it's by horse-conscious members of a group out of Steubenville, Ohio. They are a community where people can meet and exchange ideas about horses being a focal point for education about alternative training, therapy using horses as teachers, and being a voice for the horse. They have a wonderful website at www.horseconscious.com. Here we have Flight to the Stars by Diane Bashaw of Cabot, Vermont. And just as horses provide transportation on this earth, this depicts a winged horse taking us to the stars. Here we have Forever Faithful in Dark of Night and Wind and Rain by a lady out of Stamping Ground, Kentucky, Kathy Griffin Johnson. The quilt is made of fabric, of course, batting and paint and tulle, which is sort of a fine nylon net. It's based on a poem by Gogi Riddle, who is a storyteller at Shakertown. This is Yellow Rose, and it's by Shirley Gentry of Carlisle, Kentucky. And it's a costume that was worn by Annie, a horse used at the Central Kentucky Riding for Hope program, and that's located at the Kentucky Horse Park, and it's for those with special needs. Annie is owned by Denise Spittler, the director of this program, and every year they have a themed fundraising gala featuring a presentation of their students and program horses. The horses and children wear costuming to reflect the theme, and a sponsorship auction takes place based on the format used at the Lexington Thoroughbred auctions, complete with auctioneer and announcer. Annie and her rider were dressed to represent the Yellow Rose of Texas as part of a How the West Was Won presentation. The complete horse costume consists of the quilted body blanket, a decorative bridle and reins, ribbon rose mane and tail ornaments, an ankle corsage bracelet, and of course Annie's saddle. And her hooves were painted yellow and glittered.
Greg, this has just been such a wonderful display of quilts. We have to thank Judy for such a fabulous tour of these quilts.
Yes, we do, and it has been wonderful to see the artwork that has gone into these quilts, and the fact that they have the horse theme this time has just been excellent. So I guess we have to bow out for right now, but in closing,
I'm Darlene.
and I'm Greg, and even though Wicked and Angie aren't here today, give your pet a little extra love today and every day.
Come to the Quilt Museum in Paducah, Kentucky. Bye.
See you next time.